What do you get when you cross a brownie and a cookie? A blondie, of course. Today I'm going to teach you how to make brown butter blondies. Hi, I'm Mara Marie Cristiani, the Airless Chef. Let's get started. The first thing we want to do is start melting our butter, because now we want to make brown butter, and I'm going to cook it until I start seeing foam on there, and then I'm just going to keep going. It's going to take 3 or 4 minutes from that point, and I'm going to start looking for brown bits of butter on the bottom, and I'll know it's ready. Be careful, don't walk away, because you'll burn your butter and then you won't be able to use it. When you start seeing the bubbles forming like that, you want to keep stirring a little bit. And this is the crucial time. Don't walk away, don't answer the phone, don't walk the dog. Keep an eye on your butter. When you see the bubbles climbing on top of each other like this, that means we're getting close to the browning process, and you want to keep swirling the pan every once in a while. Look for brown bits on the bottom. As soon as I see that little bit of brown on the bottom of the pan, I know I'm close. I'm going to continue swirling the pan and keeping a very close eye on it. We're just like a minute away. You can see the brown on the bottom, and you can smell. It actually smells a little bit nutty, and that's exactly what brown butter should smell like. I want a very deep golden, but I don't want to go too far because then it will be bitter. That's it, we're there. I'll turn off the heat. And then I'm going to add the brown sugar to this. Very careful, because that butter is hot. And I will whisk that brown sugar into the brown butter just to dissolve the sugar. I'm going to set this aside to cool before we continue on with the recipe. Our brown butter and brown sugar is cooling in the refrigerator, and I'm going to show you how to go ahead with the rest of the recipe. So I'm putting our flour in it through a sifter. You know I love these to sift my flour. Any sifter you have is fine. Why do we sift? 2 things. One, it helps distribute all the ingredients, your baking soda, your salt, and your flour, so there's not splotches of it in, it's all well blended. In goes the baking powder and salt. I like sea salt. And also it aerates the batter, so it gives you a nice crumb, whether it's a cake, a brownie, anything that you're using. All right, so those are mixed, ready to go. I'm going to set those aside. And I want to talk about the pan. I'm doing a 9 by 9 today. You could do an 8 by 8. You could double the recipe. Don't worry about memorizing this, because I will put all the information you need down below, and I'll give you both versions. If you do the double batch, you can use either a 9 by 13 cake pan, or I like to use a half sheet pan with the low sides. That's what I like to use. Anytime I do brownies or blondies, I do make a little sling out of foil. So I just cut the sides so that it fits down in there. And the reason why I do that is it just makes it easier to get the brownies. They're notorious for sticking, more so than cakes, believe it or not. You can do it with parchment paper. I just find that foil works really well. You want to make sure that you have extra pieces of foil on either side, and that's what you're going to be able to grab to help pull it out. The other thing you need to do, and I know this is the absolute hardest part, is you need to wait for it to cool down. If you try to remove it when it's still hot, that's when you really have trouble and it'll break up on you. So at least room temperature, okay? All right, well, let's go check our brown butter. Our brown butter is out of the fridge. It's been about 5 minutes. It's still slightly warm to the touch, but that's okay because we're gonna beat them up. I just wanted you to see how dark it is. The brown butter has turned that beautiful light brown sugar to an even darker. It almost looks like dark brown sugar, which you can also use, but this one isn't. All right, I just want to turn that on and get it started. And we're gonna throw a little air in there, and it's gonna lighten up that brown butter mixture. It will also help to cool the mixture down before I add the eggs, because nobody wants scrambled eggs in their blondies, right? I'll turn it up. About number 4 on my KitchenAid, probably medium high on another mixer. You can smell the nuttiness of that brown sugar. Oh, it's just absolutely lovely. I can fill the bowl and I can tell that it's still slightly warm, but it's okay. I can start adding my eggs. I'm going to add them one at a time. Just let it drop in there. And immediately it pulls that whole mixture together. In goes in second one. Followed by a very nice healthy dose of vanilla bean extract or paste, which I prefer. Perfect. Look how nice it looks. You also notice I have a blender beater that has the rubber edge, and that does help to keep it. But even with that, I do go back and scrape down a little bit. It's just so efficient, it hardly ever needs it. All right, that's looking really good. Now I'm going to slowly add the flour mixture. Remember, we sifted it. A little bit at a time. I'll give time for that beater to pull the flour into the mixture before I continue adding it. It's a very simple recipe, very few ingredients. Doesn't take any more time hardly to do this. The longest thing is to brown the butter, but once you do that, you have it. There. As soon as I see most of it incorporated, I'm going to stop because I don't want to over mix it. Once the gluten gets going in the flour, it will toughen your cake or brownie, whatever you're making. So you don't ever want to over mix that. All right, that's it for the blender. Let me clear all this out of the way and show you how I finish it. I've removed the bowl from the mixer, and you can still see a little bit of flour in there, which is exactly when you want to pull it, because you're going to finish mixing by hand. I'm going to use pecans today, although I love any kind of macadamias are my favorite. I just didn't have any, and I'm going to use white chocolate chips today. You can use dark chocolate, a combination. The rule is up to half a cup additional. So this is a cup of chips, a cup of nuts. If you want to add something else, only add up to a half a cup, and you can choose one. Toasted coconut is a really nice addition, and I'm just going to fold this in together. You could use caramel chips. You can use almost anything, actually. And I just mix that in just a little bit. I don't want to over mix it at this point. It smells so good. I wish you could smell this. Yummy. I think blondies do have more fun. All right, into the pan we go. You don't even need to spray this pan with this foil. And we know there's enough butter in here, right? And no, you cannot substitute butter flavored shortening. I will come to your house and throw it all away. All right, I'm just going to push it to the edges. There we go. I want it as even as possible. It's so buttery that you're not going to really have any problem with sticking. You can use your hands. I like to use my hands. That's it, make it as level as possible. And as always, push it up against the edge of the pan. You want to go into a 350 degree preheated oven, and it will bake about 25 to 30 minutes depending on your oven. All right, let's go bake it. Our blondie is out of the oven. You see how beautiful and golden it is? And I'm going to set it aside to cool to room temperature completely, and I'll show you how I like to serve it. have it, my Brown Butter Blondie sundae. Isn't that wonderful? Oh boy. I hope you make the hot fudge sauce. Now, I did strain it through a fine mesh strainer just to get rid of any bits that didn't melt all the way. Look how beautiful these blondies are. They're good just like that. If you like that, subscribe to my channel and like it and leave some comments so I know what you think. I'll see you next time. What's the difference between a brownie and a blondie? No. What do you get when you cross a and you want to go into a 350 degree preheated oven? What do you get when you cross a brownie and a